All right, welcome to yet another episode of Aussies Taking Over the NBA. It is a Friday night, sitting on the couch, relaxing, doing some podcasting. What do we got today?
We're running over the Jazz's disappointing and abysmal postseason and decent season.
Good season after
as a whole.
A bit of a horror start.
Just woeful start.
But then, coming good, obviously, down the stretch of the season. Similar to last season where they had a little bit of a struggle at the start. And then
They did have a very mild back end of the season. I think they played most of their... And they got the Grizzlies early on when the Grizzlies was like a thing.
Yeah, just kind of like carving it up.
And then they
copped the Warriors, I think, at the start as well. And there was a bit of a struggle. I've got it written down here. We'll go through that. But first things first, Aussies Taking Over the NBA on YouTube, on SoundCloud, on hashtag The Collectives Podcast Network, on iTunes, any other podcast network you want to try and look us up on. If you can't find us, send us a request.
Should
on
be
Facebook.
there. It's on RSS. Remember to like, share, and subscribe on Facebook.
So the Jazz, man, we'll try and steer clear of spoilering alert. Their really disappointing postseason. We'll get to that. But the start of their season, it was a little bit of a struggle. I think they had 3-2 in their opening games, and they went 4 of 11 in the first 15. And it was a little bit like I had high hopes going into the season.
We thought they were going to be a 60-plus win season.
Yeah, it looked really good on paper, didn't it?
It did. It just turned out to be like, oh, Rubio, why are you shooting the ball so much? That's the season is like, why is Rubio shooting threes?
Yeah, why is he shooting so much? Donovan Mitchell obviously, had another pretty good year. It was not too bad
good year. Abysmal postseason. He went full Uncle Doo-Doo.
Spoiler alert, we'll bring that out because obviously Aaron Baines went out today. Yesterday.
So we could have all the Aussies out in this round.
Possibly, maybe.
Potentially, but Philly's just taken it to a 7th game, and the Dubs and Rockets are playing tomorrow for
Game 6.
After
which could Durant just gets injured, season over, basically.
No, is it season over?
Well,
series over.
May as well be.
Yeah, may as well be.
But back on the Rockets, Joe Ingles, not a bad season for him.
Interesting. More of a playmaking role this year. Assist rating went up quite highly. A lot of pick and roll with Gobert. Shooting was down percentage-wise?
Yeah, down. He was down in most numbers during the regular season. This season, I think we said it a few times during the season that he is, a heartbeat rhythm player. I'm part of this team and I'm part of the fabric of this team. If guys need me to step up and do certain things, I'll do it at the expense of what's happening to the rest of my game. And I think he obviously took on that ball handling role because they needed a second ball handler because, Rubio had a little bit of injury trouble at the start of the season. And then, Donovan Mitchell's still betting in, but as the off guy, he was the guy to take the ball and make things happen with it rather than guys creating offense for him to be in the corner or for him to get 3-point shots. He can kind of create his shot off the dribble a little bit. That's not really his thing, though.
It's more of that kind of drive and lefty lay.
Yeah, that lefty layup. He really, he expanded his finishing at the rim, made a real name for himself. I think going down the end of it's just the Dogs, man. It's all good. But ultimately, he kind of got sucked into that I need to help this team role. And that became a lot of high pick and roll with Gobert. Gobert started the season terribly. He
did.
Awful.
He was woeful for about 20 games and then kind of made his way into Defensive Player of the Year talk.
Yeah, maybe. But his mobility was really, really bad at the start of the year. And then sort of halfway through the season, he started to get a little bit more mobile, a little bit better on the perimeter. Wasn't struggling to guard other guys. And then, obviously, Joe Ingles' role with him and Favors started to get him going on the offensive end and making sure he stayed in the game rather than just be a liability on defense.
Yeah.
Ultimately, can't really forget about Dante Exum, obviously. Projecting good things for him to start the season. and then unfortunately getting another serious injury.
Just another. It seems his body is failing him at the NBA level.
I just the first one was, I think it was a ankle.
Yeah.
And then the knee, basically a freak knee injury. So I don't know. He just seems to get unlucky injuries at really unlucky times. I don't know if I'm ready to say, look, it's, you know what I mean? I'm not ready to say you're injury prone. Sorry, mate. Like, because they're not, muscle injuries or, recurring things that are happening to they're just freak things.
They're all different.
That knee and then that foot was obviously turned that ankle pretty badly, and then that was pretty much what ended his season. That knee injury. But, we'll go through his stats a little bit later. The Utah Jazz in general, obviously a 50-32 season. From their start, that worked out to be a pretty good season for them.
I think from where they were, that was a great season. And, in a really crowded, packed Western Conference to get 50 wins, I think is a pretty good year. I mean, midway through the season, they had a chance to do a straight swap Rubio for Conley. Would that have changed things?
No, I think so. The problem is they've kind of got the Dallas problem as well. Like, Donovan Mitchell's your guy. Just start clearing everything out of the way of Donovan Mitchell.
But the problem is that Rubio is in the way of Donovan Mitchell. I think Conley adds that. All right, I can create a shot off the dribble. I can also facilitate. When I'm not doing that, Donovan Mitchell just takes over. I mean, he was so poor in the playoffs. It was just hilarious.
Yeah, he got kind of taken out by Eric Gordon a little bit.
He just got chubbed.
Yeah, and that Rockets team is a hard team to play against.
They're so scrappy.
They're wide, man. They're all wide. It's really weird. Like the NBA kind of used to have verticality. Now it's got horizontality. Like it really does. I was watching some of that today, like the Warriors series, where guys trying to drive, and the whole thing just closes up with two guys, and you're just like, these guys are like so wide. Like, how do you get through two guys like just chubbing up
Tucker
the lane?
and Gordon?
Yeah. So, but anyway, on the season, they finished fourth in opposition points per game and second in defensive rating. So,
yes,
naturally they are a defensive team. The last few years, they've been very high up on the defensive stats. Rudy Gobert obviously is a big part of that.
Defensive player of the year.
Yep. And, Favors and Crowder, pretty decent defensive options. It's just when you kind of get beyond that, the Cephaloshes and the,
Raul Netos and
Neto and Niang, which is where you start to go.
George and Niang. We didn't see Grayson Allen a lot this year as a mid first round pick.
Little flashes.
He had a 40-point game.
Yeah, at the end of the season.
Yeah, at the end of the season. It was off about 70 shots, but it was a 40-point game.
Bank it.
I just think that they didn't add anything throughout the year.
No.
They added Kyle Korver,
which
was strange because Alex Burks was quite a good player. So they added him, and then he was completely unplayable in the playoffs.
But again, Burks was kind of like another ball handler where you're just adding yet another ball. Like, you're not adding a guy off the bench who complements the team.
No.
Like Korver, I guess, in theory, you're adding a shooter in the corner or above the break. That's what you're kind of adding to the team. But again, there's still the thing that we said at the start of the season would be a real plus for them, which is having three ball handlers, turned out to be the worst thing in the world.
Well, it's only because Donovan Mitchell drives and doesn't kick.
Nah, he doesn't play Gobert in. Like, he's got to watch Harden in the offseason and just, go, oh, right, Harden just waits for Capella's man to be engaged and then just tosses up a lob or drops it off to him and be a little bit less selfish.
Just let me try and finish through 10 guys here.
Yeah, that was a real problem in the playoffs. But through the season, the guys on the team seem to just, like, he's our man, he's the guy, we love him. And it's like, yeah, but he just lost you a game on some really bad shots at the end of the game. Like, a bit of Westbrookism, like, you really like that? And they're like, yeah, we love him, he's our man. Like,
guys that play with Westbrook love Westbrook.
Yeah, it's weird.
Which is strange. He's like the guy you don't want to play with.
No, it's really obvious too that, I guess as a fan watching it, you don't want to play against him, play with him. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
So obviously their offensive rating, not great, 15th in the season, an offensive rating of 110.9. Points per game, they were 17th, 111.7. That's not bad. Like, it's still quite fast and free flowing. Pace was 100.3. That's quite low.
They're a long shot clock.
Yeah, they love a long shot clock.
We thought going to the 14 seconds was going to hinder them a lot, and it did in terms of their pace.
A little bit, yeah.
And it went against them in the speed and pace of play.
Yeah, I think they naturally have evolved into a long shot clock, good defensive team. It's just they got to dial that offense, they got to dial that defense back and get some offense in there. And ultimately, at the end of the season, it was their offense that kind of was the real struggle. Like sometimes Rubio would just be putting up too many shots. Like I said, Donovan Mitchell drive and kick to Donovan Mitchell would be great. If they had two Donovan Mitchells on their team, that would have been a lot better.
Well, I think that's what Kyle Korver was meant to kind of create. It was like, but Donovan Mitchell just drives and tries to finish through four dudes, and that's
something he's going to have to work on at the end of the season.
Yeah, but
like
it's like Westbrook, where they're just like, Westbrook just listens to Westbrook. Does Mitchell just listen to Mitchell? Is Quinn Snyder got control over that? All right, dude, you drive and you kick to Joe Ingles, who is there in the corner. If you're running a play for Mitchell, that's what it felt like, the Jazz. It felt like, we're going to run this play, and then no one's where they should be. Like, it's like, we're going to run this play to get Donovan Mitchell into the lane. But hold on a minute, we don't have an answer for two guys coming across. He's just going to try and finish over the top of them.
Or the play would eventually be Donovan Mitchell drives and then just Rudy Gobert's like right there.
Yeah.
And just like, no, get out of the way. Like, get out of the way, spread the floor. Rudy Gay, you don't need to be... Rudy Gobert. You don't need to be standing like right there because you know you're not going to get the ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and
a lot of the time, teams would always rotate off Rubio just to leave him open and dare him to shoot. Saw a lot of Houston doing that. It was just like, oh, Rubio's open. Oh, God, that's not well.
Donovan Mitchell drives and kicks, and it's Rubio, and you're like, oh, it's Rubio, damn it. But, yeah, I think we underestimated the offense of this team. Like, I think on paper they had a lot of different things where you thought, oh, there's some good sets of three-man offense here.
Yeah.
But we didn't we kind of underestimated just what kind of effect Rudy Gobert was going to have offensively, because he kind of struggled at the start of the season. You know, he was a little bit unplayable on defense, and then
had a good end of stretch and was getting some good points. Was getting in the lane a lot. But again, we always said this: he's got to develop some sort of mid-range game. Even Boban has a mid-range game. Boban has a mid-range.
He can't shoot, and around the rim, it's a bit janky too. Like, you can watch Capella. Like, Capella's the archetype. Like 2 years ago, Capella, you were like, this guy's way too slow. Basically, only stands in the dunker spot. That's it. So he got bigger, he got stronger. He could move on the perimeter, and suddenly you're like, all right, there's a different player here. Whereas Rudy Gobert has kind of just stayed the same. Just that dunker spot specialist, can block shots. The NBA is kind of moving away from that.
It is.
Finishers are getting more savvy. I don't know how much longer unless you really utilize his skill, which I don't think you could pair that with Donovan Mitchell. Like, you could pair that with Rubio maybe, because he's the kind of guy that will set up lobs and stuff for people. But with Donovan Mitchell, like, you want guys out of the way for a player like that, really.
Yeah. You really want ISO ball. It's that kind of Kevin Durant.
Like Harden's type thing, where the two-man game works because both of one guys, can be unselfish, rotate. You have to help off guys when Harden's at the rim.
Yeah.
I just feel like Donovan Mitchell's is a bit too small. Like, not that he's small, but he's just a bit too small to have that kind of respect yet.
6'4", yeah. He's a little bit... He's Westbrook.
Yeah.
He's kind of Westbrook 2.0, really. When the more you see his game...
It kind of felt like that a lot through the season.
Anyway.
Really, really worrying. But we shit on him enough. They struggled. They were 11th in the West at Christmas. It was looking bleak at that point too. It was just like, oh, what have we done? How did we think this team was going to win 60 games? They had a horror loss to Dallas.
Oh, that was hilarious, that game. 68 points.
68 points in a game. I think they were on 30 with going into the fourth too or something. I think they ended up 28 in the fourth quarter.
It was hilarious. I think 36 by the fourth quarter.
And what's that, 50-point loss? But then after the All-Star break, 33 and 26. It's not too bad. Oh, they were on 33 and 26 after the All-Star break. they turned it to 29 and 15, just dropping only 6 of their last 17 to finish 50 and 32. The Corver trade, then Dante only played 42 games. It's pretty disappointing for him.
It was, yeah. I thought we were going to see more of him this year. Joe Ingles definitely emergence as that kind of pick and roll ball handler specialist, facilitated a lot of 10-9 games.
Yeah,
10-9 games.
Like 10-9 or 11.
I think there was a
11
stat
and 7.
if Joe Ingles dished out more than 10 dimes, they were like 7-1. They were likely to win in the regular season.
Did it ever felt like this is like really groundbreaking stuff, like
No.
really devastating stuff? It just kind of felt.
It just felt like Joe Ingles, why aren't you on the perimeter in the corner shooting threes? That's what it felt like. You're there to shoot threes. Rubio's injured. I think it was really when Exum went down that he was like, all right, we haven't got this ball handling slasher. And I think that's part of Exum's game he has to improve on, is that drive and kick. Because he's a slasher. He just wants to score.
Yeah.
You have to have better vision than that in this modern, in this reiteration of the NBA.
The problem with Exum, though, it's kind of the Brogdon syndrome where once you know he's got to step on his man, you're like, oh, he's going to get there and finish. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. Whereas Brogdon, you think he's going to finish that every time.
Yeah.
No matter what. Like a Newley type situation where Newley's at the bucket, he's going to finish that.
Yeah.
It's a worry, man. Dante, another injury. It really is a worry.
It'll be interesting to see kind of how his postseason evolves and if he gets back on the court or...
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, he's still injured. He's not going to... I don't think he's going to play in the World Cup either, which is a bit of a
No,
worry.
he won't.
But yeah, going into the playoffs, it was a Houston 4-1 exit. Really, really disappointing. Like,
they didn't really even show up. It was kind of just like, oh.
After game one, like some really weird schemes on Harden where you're just like, what are you
Rubio
guys
defending
doing?
the step back.
Yeah, it was
Like,
what are you doing?
Let's just get some old school, get into his face. I think Corey Brewer, that when he had that 10-day contract with Philly, guarded Harden better than anyone has.
Yeah.
Is you have to flop on flop.
Yeah, flop on flop crying.
But it's flop on flop crime because Harden will lock you up. He will do really dirty shit to hit the foul and to get to the line. You have to be as good at selling that dirty shit as he is. And
so I wanted to see Ingles pull out some of that after gooning.
Yeah, he gooned Paul George in the series
last year,
and then he just never turned up for this.
Nah.
He didn't turn up for this series.
He didn't at all. He looked a bit tired. Do you think he looked a bit tired?
Yeah, his less muscular physique has let him down.
He's never been like a super spry, sprightly athlete.
No.
Known for it. Like,
he's a skill-based player.
Yeah, diesel-style engine rather than high-powered octane-type stuff. And, yeah, honestly, the extra workload, I feel like he kind of looked a little bit tired in those playoffs.
Yes.
Didn't have his legs under him shooting the ball. Again, they had plenty of guys to throw at Harden, yet they were throwing these weird schemes at him. Like, that's super weird schemes. Stand behind him and shit. Like,
they really missed Exum in this series. I think
so, yeah.
The last year when they played that series against Houston, and it was a great series last year as well, even though they lost the series. I think they played really well, played with a lot of heart, and Exum guarded Harden beautifully when he was on the floor. But Rubio's not a great defensive point guard.
Nah,
hasn't got the length. He tried. Like, you can only do what you try. Rubio's more of a scheming kind of dish, mid-range kind of guy. You're not going to win a championship with Rubio.
Nah,
I think that's what we've.
Shoot the ball.
I think we've asserted that now in the last 2 seasons is that you need to bring someone in.
Could you win a championship with Donovan Mitchell?
No. Not on his own. I
think he would have to do a bit of development, like personal development, show something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, Jordan was not a 1-9 in the first 2 seasons or the first 2 appearances in the playoffs. He needed a Scottie Pippen to come in and help
unlock him.
I just don't think there's that guy. I mean, they had a Rodman as well, who was just a defensive behemoth. There's no Scottie Pippen on that team, for my mind.
Nah. Or I think if you're going to try and win a championship with Rubio, you need pieces that are going to complement that or like Donovan Mitchell, you kind of need a small ball lineup that's going to dominate. You
Like
kind of
Rubio would suit a LeBron James lineup.
yeah, off ball, very very unselfish.
Yeah, off ball, unselfish. Get James into some good positions. Get a good shooter in there.
Lonzo Ball, maybe trade him for Lonzo Ball.
No. Look, I like Alonzo Ball. I think he's a fantastic defender, fantastic perimeter defender, fantastic NBA defender.
Would suit the team if he's perimeter defense.
For
That's
me,
the problem, like Donovan
Lonzo
Mitchell's-
Ball suits a Devin Booker.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
the two for my. That's
the Donovan Mitchell is just not a two. Like that's what I mean. Like I guess you've got to go all in on his ball handling, and like disaster in the playoffs. Like Eric Gordon just destroyed him with that body. Like basically the Chubb body. It was like you can't get past this guy. And I think you've got to play a spread the floor type of offense with Donovan Mitchell. I think it really showed this season. Like even though we said there was good on paper cohesion lineups there, it really showed that all of them were individuals who needed their system tailor-made for themselves. And it really showed. It made you go, oh, right, you need to spread the floor for Mitchell. Oh, right, you need to, have a two-man, 1-5 type game going on with Rubio, and Gobert was a bit slow and Favors.
Well, again, you have to look at in a shortened roster, in a shortened lineup for the playoffs. There's not players athletic enough on that team.
Nah. And every piece has to complement each other. Like it can't.
Like Ingles is not a 42-minute a night guy. Gobert's not a 37-minute center. Crowder's not really a 41-minute a night guy. You know what I mean?
He can be, but I guess.
Then
like
you're
his
going into
offense is hot and
Neto
cold.
and Niang.
Yeah, and then Neto, Niang. Yeah, from there, it just really falls away. Cephalosha. Korver, I don't think didn't even get on the court for the Houston series. They won their first two games, Houston, pretty comfortably, where you just went, oh, the series is kind of over.
Pretty much.
Third game, Harden looked tired as fuck. He had like his worst game. I think he was 0-16.
Yeah, it was 9-15, I think was the worst.
And then ended up closing quite well and hitting a couple of buckets to finish the game. And they kind of blew that game 3-0. You're thinking, yeah, that's it, basically. Where 2-1, it could have been interesting. They ended up winning game 4. A 2-2 series might have just completely changed the entire complexion. The problem is they took too long to kind of go single coverage on Harden. Just one-on-one, play in front of him.
Yeah.
Just guard him mano-a-mano, try and stop him, which, I thought was quite weird. Like, the Jazz have a very conventional style and a conventional set of players.
Defense as well. And they've gone to this weird, let's guard him from
scheming
behind.
Shit. It was bizarre. And then not enough Crowder or O'Neal on Harden. Like, obviously, in the first game, Rubio didn't work, so let's change that straight away. I would have put Royce O'Neal on him straight away. Just get Royce O'Neal on him, goon him, sweet, no worries. Or Ingles, but Ingles kind of was pretty poor in that series.
Ingles will get beaten in the lateral dribble. That's the problem. Harden will just blow by him every time. You need a quick lateral player that's long.
Someone like Klay Thompson or like...
This is... It's funny because the West matchups, like Houston match up Golden State really well. And by really well, they'll get gooned a lot. Golden State have some, like, Draymond Green is just a numpty, like, just stupid player in big moments. Like, he's a good player, but stupid in big moments. Whereas they wouldn't get past Philly in 4 games, I don't think.
What, the Warriors?
No, Houston.
Oh, Houston, okay.
I don't think
it's a different team, like superstar center. The one thing the Warriors don't have is a superstar center.
I don't think the Rockets go 5 against the Bucks.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. Like, again, it's the Jazz. They have Gobert and they have Favors. Yet both of them were kind of unplayable in the series until Favors did a few things late in the game that made you go, "Oh, can you do this a whole game?" No, I can't do this whole game. Sorry, I got about 2.5 minutes of closing a game, and that's about it. And that's like, they're your main guys.
Yeah.
They're the guys you're like, I'm counting on you, boys. Can you do this? Nah, okay.
Because all you have to do is take Capella off the floor and play Austin Rivers, and you're like, whoa, this is small ball fast. All right, pretty much half of...
If you can somehow play Harden one-on-one, all of your other guys can stay home on everyone else, and suddenly it just makes the Houston team an entirely different team to guard. You're making Eric Gordon shoot. if you can, like PJ Tucker was just getting 3 after 3 in the corner. It took 2 games for them to fix that.
Like rotate onto him. They wouldn't just.
You can't have that in a series, and
especially Houston. If you did your homework, you have to run them off the perimeter every time. They'll just rotate into the corner every time.
And they were getting rinsed. Capella had a really good series because Harden to drive, and Capella Gobert would have to step up on Harden because he'd be licking his lips going, right, I'm going to get a block here. He just passes straight to Capella and everyone goes, oh, yeah, Capella just stood in the dunker spot and then, got an alley-oop basically or a handoff and just dunked it. And as a Utah player or as a Utah team, the coaching staff, you'd be looking at that going, Donovan Mitchell, this is what you need to work on in the offseason. Drive, draw 2 defenders. One of those guys is going to be guarding Gobert, and you just over the top of Gobert. But even in that series, they didn't really do it, and they kind of did it.
Gobert should be able to get over Capella and most guys because he's a wingspan.
And he was kind of unplayable, man.
He was.
Really
and
was unplayable.
We've always said this. He's against a 3-ball center, they would have got rinsed. Jokic would have just rinsed. The Nuggets would have just rinsed the Jazz. The Jazz just didn't, for me, match up well against anyone in the Western Conference in a shortened rotation final series with 2 centers that are pretty much unplayable.
Yeah, it's just...
And without that power forward that we can really play that small 5.
For such a strong defensive team all season, it really just hit a brick wall and really disappointing. We should move on to Joe Ingles, obviously.
Yep.
Durability, only missed 1 game in the last 2 seasons. I think he's the longest active streak of starts at the moment. So, but doing a lot more. So maybe a little bit tired down the stretch of this season.
Yes.
Had to do a lot more with the ball in his hand, more pick and roll with Gobert and Favors. Added that little lefty scoop, he'd fake the pocket pass and then go to the hoop and that lefty scoop. Average 12 points a game, 5.7 assists per game, 4 rebounds per game, 1.2 steals, 44.8% from the field, but 39% from 3. That's down. I think it was 44 last year. What did I have? Yeah, down 5%. So it was 44% last year. That's a worry, man, because if his 3 ball's not dropping...
that's what you're in for. You're a small forward that can spread the floor and shoot. Why do we need 3 ball handlers in a team? You know what I mean?
53.3% from the field, which basically was that lefty layup he added to his game. But I still want to see him shoot more threes next year. He needs to be spotting up in the corner. They need to get an extra ball handler and make sure he's off ball a little bit more. And it's a late shot clock. The ball comes out to Joe Ingles. He creates off late shot clock.
This is a perfect... Joe Ingles, for me, would fit a Bucks lineup like no tomorrow.
Just shooting the 3 ball.
Shooting the 3 ball. And that almost Giannis has found Joe Ingles. Joe Ingles' drive, lefty scoop, lay it in.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do. That's your job is 2 things, right? You shoot the 3 ball or you drive and lefty scoop.
Yeah. So, but then I guess you're whittling guys down to 2 things. But
that's really what he should be.
It's true. You're
a 3-and-D player. You shoot the 3 and you hit the D. That's...
Shoot 3, hit the D. Yeah. I think, odd season. He got a lot of credit too in the wider NBA.
In the wider NBA, and I was just I don't see it.
We were kind of destroying him at the start of the season. Joe Ingles has been terrible, and then all these articles started coming out. Joe Ingles has been fantastic. This is great to watch. And we were just what?
What have you been watching?
He's, it was a bit average. So he had a 27-7-5 game against Boston. I think that was.
He had some good games. He had some really standout performances. Good shooting, good facilitation.
27-4-4 against the Warriors in that loss, the heartbreaker with Jerebko, that tip in right at the end.
Yes, that was a great game actually.
Yeah, it was a heaps good game. Good tip in from Jerebko.
Oh yeah, of course.
Celebrated right in front of the bench too, coming from the Jazz, and then a 27-8-5 against Phoenix. But really, just a disaster of postseason. Really disappointing. So his field goal percentage was up. Free throw was down a little bit, 71%. That's pretty disappointing for a predominant shooter.
For a predominant shooter.
Who doesn't get to the line much.
Yeah.
Not known for getting to the line. 3-point percentage down, obviously, but his playoff numbers were just a disaster. 6 points per game, 5 assists per game. 32.4% from the field. That's horrible. 27.6 from 3. 27.6% from three.
There's no one in that Houston lineup that screams to me, I can run Joe Ingles off a 3-point shot.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, they're going to stop you getting in the lane. But
It's that
PJ Tucker,
switching thing, yeah.
like, he should just be standing in the corner. Like, you've got a really good drive player who can't kick to you in the corner. Instead, you've got to try and facilitate offense where it shouldn't be your job.
Yeah.
Especially in the playoffs. Your job is to knock down threes at 50%.
But he kind of didn't really do that either. He didn't really facilitate all that much.
He didn't do anything.
No, it was kind of weird. And he got a little bit of foul trouble too, which if you're going for the goon, you can understand a little bit. Like, the goon didn't even come out. Like, I was like, come on, Harden, what are you doing? Perfect candidate after Paul George. It's like next level, Mortal Kombat style. Up next face on the tree, Harden.
Mortal Kombat.
And then obviously 12 of 37 against Houston. That's horrible. And then only 4 of 8 from 2 in the entire series. That's a disaster, man. That is really horrible. A disaster. And 8 from 29 from 3. Not the best season ending series against Houston. Dante Exum, only 42 games. You know, not much we can really talk about. Not a big sample size. It's
not really a lot. 40 minutes per game, 6.9 points per game. Really just as backup to Rubio. 42% from the field, 29% from 3.
Not known for shooting.
Not really, but he needs to be. He needs to be that slasher that can get out, drive and kick and get out off the curl. 2.6 assists per game. Numbers are slightly down. Best game was against Philly, against his best buddy, Ben Simmons.
Didn't Simmons have a really good game in that game as well?
Yeah, they both had really good games. But yes, Philly did win.
Yeah.
We were really excited for the Jazz this season.
Yeah,
we really wanted to watch some Jazz, and all in all, I just didn't like their style of play.
You don't like their style? I like their style, but they did a few different things that, I don't know, like, I'm looking at Quinn Snyder going, Quinn, like, where are you going with this? Where's this going? It's not going in the right direction, mate. Like, the Vortex pick and roll stuff is really good. Like, it's nice concentric circles of pick and roll here and there. You got the right personnel, but then the scheming stuff at the end of the season where you're just like, what? Like, no, run these guys through pick and roll. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I know.
Bit disappointing. So going forward, I guess, where do the Jazz go from here?
I think that Cole Korver retires.
Yeah.
That's $8 million. They need to really think about what they're going to do with Rubio long term. I think he's off contract.
Yeah, I think it might be unrestricted this season.
Unrestricted.
No, sorry. Yeah, unrestricted free agent? No.
Yeah, he's unrestricted, yeah.
I
would definitely look at potentially bringing Conley in. I think Conley could add a depth of shooting.
His contract is ridiculous though, man.
Oh, yeah, it's like max. But Rubio's on 20 mil.
Yeah.
Kyle Korver's on 8 or 9.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be able to, like, the problem is, like, if they clear what they're doing. So 2019, I think, he enters free agency this year, Rubio. They've just got to clear way too much, man. That's the thing. Like, some of these teams are getting to a point where rebuilds, when they're decent.
I don't think they need to rebuild. I think they need to find a point guard that can shoot.
Well, they need to put Donovan Mitchell.
Scary Terry. Like a Scary Terry would fit that lineup pretty well, actually.
I just don't like watching Donovan Mitchell at the 2, man. It doesn't work for me. Like,
well, what do you bring in? What do you put him at the point and run? Who do you run at the 2? Try and draft a good shooting guard, or what do you do?
Grayson Allen will be another year older, so he can kind of come in the mix. He's a bit of an all-round, can play 1 or 2. I still think it's kind of like it's time to spread the floor out for Donovan Mitchell. But again, like Dallas, we're sitting here like Dallas at the start of their season going, really, you just got to nuke the side from orbit and rebuild.
Yeah, I don't think a 50-win season needs nuking though.
No,
that's the problem.
It's a bit.
I think that the
man.
piece is the Rubio piece is that if you've got
Joe kind of bin him, like just go in a different direction.
Yeah, like you've got Joe Ingles facilitating, which means he's a high facilitation piece. You've got Mitchell in there that can take over the primary ball handling. you don't need Rubio.
Nah, I think
So what do you need? You need to bring in a shooter.
mm,
You need to either bring in a shooter that can play the two, a point guard that can play the two and shoot predominantly, or an off-ball handler.
mm.
Yeah, Terry Rozier, I think, is an unrestricted free agent this year.
I
That's
don't know, I don't know, man. It's like obviously Conley comes off contract 2021, and he's making 34 million next year. So I wouldn't take that contract on. That'd just hamstring their entire cap space. But it's like I still feel like you've got to go all in on Mitchell here. Like
you do. You have to go in all in on Mitchell,
he's
but
too good. In a sense that he's too good. If you're gonna make the leap on him, you're gonna have to just go in and go in deep. You know, like he's too good to just go. Oh, we're still retooling our stuff here, here and there. Like it's like if you're going in on Donovan Mitchell, you got to go all in. Get rid of Rubio. You know, get rid of Niang, Neto, everyone. Like just clear the entire thing out and start spreading the floor with shooters. But I don't think they're going to do that.
no,
It's just not. And the rest of the franchise is
that's not
in a
coincided.
state.
And how do you justify that on a 50-win season?
It's
It's like OKC,
you can't.
48 win season. How do you justify getting rid of anyone, really?
Westbrook.
You can't. That's the thing. Is how do you justify a 50-win season going, well, let's blow this thing up?
Exactly, yeah. Well, Dallas were in the perfect position to do that.
Yeah, 20 win season, 28 win season. Like, yeah, blow this shit up because it's trash. You've got too many.
Utah are kind of in the grey area, in the neutral zone. But I still think if they don't re-sign Rubio, that's all right. To me, I'm like, that's okay. Don't re-sign Rubio. Use that to get a couple of shooters.
Yeah, potentially that would be an ingoing Mitchell at the one.
And then have Dante Exum play back up. I hope he doesn't go down.
Yeah, or at the two as a slasher. All right.
Yeah, all right. The Jazz, eh? A bit disappointing to see them, just crash and burn at the end of the season, but
Indeed. What can you do?
made all the worse by my crazy 6-2 win prediction.
Yes, well, I backed you for that. And
Yeah.
I am retarded.
I am also.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
We'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening.
Yeah.
We'll be back doing a Patty Mills season
Patty
wrap.
Mills. We're going to do that after this.
We're going to do that after this and release it.
Probably
We'll wrap
next
up.
week. Halfway through next week, we'll stagger these ones. Probably Tuesday, Thursday.
Yep, and we'll wrap up the Eastern Conference semis.
Yeah, we've got all playoffs probably at some point this weekend. We'll try and get in the studio and do that. And then we've got Aaron Baines obviously went out yesterday. And then we might lose Ben Simmons. Hopefully they prevail in a Game 7, but we'll know that by next week. So
yes,
and the Warriors too, really, by next week.
Could have everything wrapped up, but no, we want to see some Aussies go.
Yeah, we want to see at least one. It would be great to see Philly go to a Eastern Conference final.
It would be a good
Bogut, I'm
matchup.
like, Bogut's Bogut, but see Ben Simmons go to a Eastern Conference final would be great.
Indeed. All right, guys.
All right,
Peace out.
I'll take it easy, peeps.
See ya.